Hey YouTube, it is a community day tomorrow, so Sunday, September 14th, 2 to 5, Flabebe or Florges, where it is getting the new move, Chilling Water. Now, I'm filming this on Thursday, and the stats have not been confirmed, but we can pretty much confirm what it, like 95% guess correctly what this move is. So we will go over what this move is based on the stats we are guessing, and then we will, I'll put sort of a note in the comments if it has changed. So you do not, if you're lucky, you might encounter white, orange, or white, orange. No matter if you're lucky, you might encounter white and orange flower no matter what region you were in. So you get the white and you get the orange no matter what, but the yellow, blue, and red are stuck into the regions. It does not matter. It does not matter for GBL. So if that matters to you, you can find someone to trade with, but it does not affect GBL. Okay, gets the move Chilling Water. It is a 60 power move and lowers your opponent's attack by 1 stage. And so we'll look at that in a second. The most important thing to matter about this community is not giving us money. It is a quarter egg hatch distance. Did we not just have this in the last community? Usually they rotate these event bonuses, but I thought that we just had this limited time evolution requirement. Evolve after earning 7 hearts as your buddy. So you need to. Oh man. Okay. So there's a requirement that you need to evolve this as your buddy. 7 hearts. 7 hearts is still not nothing. That's like 3 battles. 7 is such an awkward number because it's like 1 feed, 3 battles, a picture, and then what? 2 other things. So it's not that it's hard, but it's not as straightforward as you're going to be able to just quickly evolve all of them. But okay. Quarter egg hatch. Yeah, it is. So let's look at the Pokemon first in itself. Then we're going to look at the move. And then we're going to look at the matchups in the Great League, Ultra League, and Match League. 120 attack, 141 defense, 110 stamina. So a pretty middle-ish of the Pokemon in terms of attack and bulk. It's just kind of all hovering in that middle range, which short version is not going to be overly powerful in the attack, the moves, not going to be weak at the same time, whereas you almost always can probably take 1 charge move, but you're almost never going to be able to take 2 charge moves. Again, depending on what that charge move is, but that's generally what these numbers mean. It is a straight fairy, so weak to poison and steel resisting, double resisting dragon, single resisting bug, dark, and fighting. So, not a bad depends on the league, but poison steals have been buffed over the past couple seasons. But dragon and bug have also been buffed, and there's still a decent amount of darks and fighting depending on the league you're in. So I like the resistances overall. Has Fairy Wind, which is one of the fastest charging fast moves in the game, while having okay damage, right? So 4.5 energy per turn with 2.4 damage is a very nice combo there. Running right now with usually Moonblast and Trailblaze. You have a lot of options here. Some, at one point, some just used Disarming Voice Moonblast before it got Trailblaze. So you had like a bait fairy move, 45 for 84, and then you had like the nuke fairy move, 60 for 132. Now, when Trailblaze came in, you had this 45 for 65, which is not good in itself, but people like to boost their attack and then land like a Moonblast. So now you get this Chilling Water, which is actually right here. Perfect. 45 for 60. And 100% chance of lowering your opponent's attack. So damage is not anything, especially when you do not get same type of attack bonus on it. But why we think this is going to be the stats is because it is essentially a mirror of everything here. Chilling Water, 45 for 60 with a 100% chance of lowering your opponent's attacks is the exact same as Break Wind Storm, Icy Wind, Lunge, Mystical Fire, Sandsear Storm. So when you have a bunch of these Pokemon, actually it's not even just the end of it. Triple Axle, same, but it boosts your attack. Wild Bolt Storm, clone of 100% chance of lowering your opponent's defense with Wrap, but same stats, right? So it would be very, very, very shocking if they made this a 40 energy move and made it 40 for 65 because it does not align with anything else. So that's why we're pretty confident that that's going to be the move here. Now, in of itself, it is a worse Trailblaze, right? But this time, more importantly than boosting your attack, is you are lowering your opponent's attack. And lowering your opponent's attack is so I think it does two things here. The first thing it does is give you coverage because it allows you to throw something at steals that you never had before. Your charge moves were only Fairy, Grass, and Psychic, and every single one of those is resisted by steals. But now suddenly you have a water move where you're now hitting steals. So right off the bat, you finally get a cover move. Now, that cover move also lowers your opponent's attack. So why I never felt Trailblaze was useful on this Pokemon was because what's the point of buffing a 2.4 damage per turn move? Not much, right? You're still not doing a ton of damage even if you boost that. It kind of feels like and you know what? It's exact same as I mean, slightly different, and you get same type attack bonus, but I'm blanking on the name. I was trying to talk my way through that. Corviknight. There we go. Don't even need to look it up. Corviknight, because Corviknight has the sand attack. It is the same. This one's 4 energy, but 2 damage, but then without same type attack bonus. So in Fairy Wind, you're getting the 4.5, which is fantastic, but you're also getting same type attack bonus. So that 2 becomes 2.4 when you add the 20% shadow same type attack bonus on. So it hits harder than sand attack because it's the same type attack bonus, but it is otherwise a clone. Well, it's a damage clone. And when you boost that attack, it does not feel like it's doing a ton. So unless you're having like a 3.5, 4 damage per turn move, boosting that attack does not feel as great when you're only outputting 65 damage here. Now, what worked with Florges is you can boost your Moonblast. And Moonblast is 132 damage move. So 132 is quite strong. So if you boosted that, you're okay there. And 65 plus 132 plus boosted, you're going to take out pretty much everything in the Great League. Ultra League debatable, but for sure everything out in the Great League. But now you have this 60 damage move that doesn't boost your attack, but lowers your opponent's attack. Now, I think lowering your opponent's attack is more valuable for this Pokemon than boosting it. When you lower an opponent's attack, one attack lower stage, is playable for your opponent. But when you lower their attack by 2, it's almost like an instant reset or like an instant, not loss, but it's just an absolute game changer when you lower their attack times 2. You see this with Feather Dance that lowers your attack by 2. And you see this when Octazooka landed and it got that drop and dropped their attack by 2. Because now suddenly moves that were doing, let's say if a move did like 50%, like these statistics are going to be a little off, but they're now doing like less than 25%. Like it's just a substantial difference of how much the moves come back from your opponent, and that forces them to give up one of the most important parts of GBL, and that's switch, right? You really can't stay. If you stay within a 2 times lower attack, you're probably going to lose that matchup, and if you get out, you're giving up switch. It's just one of the 3 win cons. So Chilling Water really gives you that cover move, plus it allows you to change the dynamics of a matchup. So we're looking at the Great League, Ultra League, and Master League. What I'm going to say about this is how it sims and how it's going to play out may be different, because in these sims you're probably going to be baiting chilling water. Actually, someone says that you can take the bait off here. Maybe I'll do that. Where's that? Baiting. I'm going to take bait off just so we can see in all these different scenarios how that affects the matchups. Because what I don't want is I don't want you to bait a Chilling Water, lower your opponent's attack, and then land the Moonblast to win. Because it's just one of those then if you let the attack, if you let the first one go, then you shield out the Moonblast, it's probably a loss. So let's actually see how much that changes. So this was the difference in the Great League before I just turned this off. 23 and 30 without this move, 462. And although you only pick up 4 net wins, 27, 26, your average jumps to 509, which is substantial. Oof. Look at what happens when you put off selective baiting. It drops to 19 and 24. And if you keep it on in both scenarios, 31 to 33, and if you make it selective, it jumps from 23 to 27. So this is the importance of sort of matchups. Now, whether or not you pick up a bunch of wind. Here, this is what I'm gonna say, regardless of what the Sims tell us here. No matter how many wins you pick up with this Pokemon, with the different move, for me, I think it is an automatic must-have on this Pokemon. And again, it's a must-have for two reasons. One is you can just see the wins you pick up. Let's just have the selective baiting on. But even so, let's just look at the wins you pick up and why it makes sense. Steals are the one thing that you actually now hit against. Now, Bastiodons have rocks, so you're now hitting super effective. That's good. That's great. But you got Sandslash as a win. You got Corviknight as a win now. You got, again, Steelix half ground, so that means you're hitting super effective well. But you have Pokemon that would otherwise just resist all your moves that you now can hit neutral against. That's not true. Trailblaze would have hit Bastiodon neutral, but still would not have picked up that matchup. And now you have some cover for some rocks and some fires and some ground. So water, again, water is one of the best typings just generally in the meta. So being able to hit some of these now very meta relevant Pokemon is very, very strong. Losing Blastoise, Dusclops, Gastrodon, and Jellicent, not surprising. You are losing all three of the four are water Pokemon. So you're getting rid of a super effective Trailblaze and now throwing now you wouldn't throw a water move, you just have to go to the nuke, which is slower to get to, so you're going to lose those matchups. So that makes sense. What I didn't actually mention this, let's go back here, a little all over the place. You guys are used to that. What makes this move deadly and why I'm going to have to say you got to pause the Sims for a minute here is the fact that you can spam these in 10 turns. It's a 45 energy move and you're getting 9 energy per turn. So it's just straight 5s, meaning you're going to get to this move in straight 10s. Being able to, again, this is the Sims plays out the one shield, even energy scenario. So in this very specific scenario with baiting on, this is what the record will be. But you gotta think about this beyond what the Sim is telling you. If you are in a matchup and you can lower an opponent's attack, most Pokemon in the meta, I don't want to say most, but a lot of Pokemon in the meta are not going to get to moves in 10, right? There's the spammy ones. There's your Drapions and your Feraligators. There's actually quite a lot, not a lot, but there's some Pokemon that spam in 10. Drapion, Feraligator, Golisopod, a bunch of those Pokemon spam in 10. But there's a lot of Pokemon in here where the first move is not going to be at 10. Everything from Annihilate to, again, Azumarill would be a bait, but Bastiodon and Carbink and Charizard, I'm unclear, but I would have to check Dragon Breath because that got reworked. Charge Bug on the first one, Clodsire on the first one, Corsola on the first one, and these are still losses, but just bear with me with this analysis. So you are lowering their attack before they even get to their first move. So if you shield their first move and you throw a second Chilling Water, not only are you doing 120 damage, which in 20 turns is not good, but 120 damage is not inconsequential. It will chip. You will now, for the first move that you take, have a 2-time lowered attack opponent. So even if they get to what should be like a good move, like an Earthquake or whatever, and they get to that move, you're still 2 times lowered their attack. And that 141 defense, again, that combo defense stamina here means that you would have survived anything, you would have survived 1, but not 2. Now, all of a sudden, if you take your first attack at 2 times lowered, and then you potentially lower their attack again, you're not going to be taken out in 2. You'll live 2 with ease because they're going to be like 3 times lowered. So moves like this that lower the attack, especially moves that come at the speed that this is going to come, I don't really care how it sims. It's going to play way different, and I think it's going to be very, very strong with how it plays. Also having the Moonblast, like I don't even know the different shield scenarios, but if you go to the 0 shield scenario here, that isn't going to change as much because you're probably just going straight Moonblast. In the 2 shield scenario, 2 shields, you may pick up a lot here. Yeah, this should not surprise you with what I just said. In the 2 shield scenario, you go from 24 wins to 32 wins and a way higher average. Because you can just throw this like 3 or 4 times and they're going to have to reset. Now, will affect the play of this thing, right? So is the strategy just going straight Chilling Water and lowering their attack 2 to 3 times a very viable strategy to force to get wins in if your opponent like can't reset or just has to stand? Is it good to get wins? Yes. You also have to know that if I'm playing against Florges and I throw a charge move and they hit me with one of these, I let it go. I throw a charge move, they shield, and then they throw a second charge move. If I have an answer to Florges in the back, or even if I have like a neutral answer in the back, I may bail after 2. Now I give up switch, but I can save the Pokemon on the lead, have some energy, and reset that attack lowering by getting out there. So I think this Pokemon is going to be an interesting one. I understand why it's going to have strength, but this is one of those where it's just like you cannot, because of the way the second move is, you cannot just look at these sims. So we'll look at the sims just for like just comparative sake. I'll just put the selective baiting back on here. You pick up 3 wins in the Ultra League, 501 to 532. You know, again, same thing. You're hitting steels, you're hitting rocks, you're hitting ground, and it's stuff you're hitting super effective against Talonflame, Skeldurge, Ting-Tong. You're now hitting neutral against the steel, Typhlosion, like all these fires you're hitting now super effective against, giving up the waters that you would otherwise hit super effective with Trailblaze. So it makes sense there. Master League, you know, I put it in, but why would you use these Pokemon when there is Zacian and other fairies that are way more dominant, Xerneas and stuff that are way more dominant than this? So we can basically ignore Master League. Definitely will have some play in the Ultra League, but Great League I think is the one that is kind of interesting, right? Again, this is the 2 shield. When you put it back to the 1 shield here, it's got a slightly over 500 average, 509 with a 27-26 record. So, yeah, should you get the move on this Pokemon? Yes. If like I've already built up a hundo for Master League, do we need it? You know, maybe Master League Premier, you may need it. Master League Open, you do not need it. Should you get this move for Great League and Ultra League? Yes, I think you should. I think it's going to be quite strong. It's going to be a better move. And then how this Pokemon plays again is going to be a weird one. I think this Pokemon has a lot of flexibility in how you play it. Right? You're spammy enough that even if you just want to go Moonblast as a 132 damage move is 14, 14, 12. Right? Being able to throw a 132 damage move at 14, 14, 12 in of itself is pretty good. I think why this Pokemon is just generally ranked so low in the Open Ultra League is because you had a Trailblaze. 1, you didn't have coverage for steals, and 2, you had a Trailblaze that just did not help your fast move. Like, you boost your fast move, but again, who cares if you boost a 2.4 damage move? So I just think it wasn't as valuable of a move set for this Pokemon. Now, being able to lower your opponent's attack at that speed is the game changer, right? So definitely going to be one that I test out when Great League comes back to do like beyond the hype on it. You know, weak to poison and fairy. There's quite a few of those in the Great League, right? So you saw some of these losses here against come on, there we are. You see some losses against the meta Pokemon here. You know, you're losing to Clodsire, Corsola, Credilli, Dedenne, even Dedenne. Even Dedenne. Dunsparce, Dusclops, Empoleon as the Steel, Fortress, Ferret, Gastrodon you're now going to lose to, which is everywhere. Jelson should be picked up a bit this season. Even Jirachi as the new Confusion user, Lapras. So that's a lot of meta. That's a lot of meta losses. However, again, it's meta losses in the 1 shield even energy scenario. It's not losses if you can potentially take this to like the 2 shield where you're shielding up the first one and lowering their attack times 2 or 3, because then it's going to change the whole matchup. So yeah, worth getting, worth playing with, see how it plays, see how it feels with this move. But I think it should be one that could cause problems just based on its ability to lower your opponent's attack so often. So sorry if I repeated myself a bit, but you know how it is. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good community day, and I will see you guys in the next one.